We often talk about Bitcoin as just a new kind of money, and sure, it is. But what's really, truly revolutionary from a tech standpoint is the massive problem it managed to solve, a challenge that haunted the idea of digital cash right from the very beginning. This is the big question, right? It sounds almost too simple, but this is the absolute core challenge that made a true digital currency seem impossible for decades. Because think about it, if any piece of information can just be duplicated, how can it possibly hold any value? So, to really get what makes Bitcoin so special, we first have to wrap our heads around this whole digital counterfeiting problem that it was specifically designed to fix. Okay, think about it like this. Imagine you have a physical $5 bill. If you go buy a coffee with it, that bill is now in the cashier's drawer. It's gone from your wallet. It physically cannot be in two places at once. But digital money, that's a whole different story. It's just a file, right? A string of code. And just like a photo or a document, it can be copied. And this specific vulnerability, this flaw, it actually has a name: double spending. It's this huge potential problem where one single digital coin could be spent over and over and over again. Because unlike that physical $5 bill, there's no built-in way to prove it's already been used. So, for decades, how did we solve this? I mean, we've had digital payments for a while now. Well, the answer has always been to just bring in a middleman. The issue is pretty straightforward. The recipient, let's say the online store you're buying from, they have no way of knowing if the digital cash you just sent them was also sent to 10 other stores at the exact same time. They need a referee, an independent third party, to look at the transaction and say, yep, this is legit. And who are these referees? Well, they're companies we all use every single day. Visa, PayPal, MasterCard. These guys are what we call trusted third parties. Their entire business model is built around keeping a giant central ledger to make sure that when you spend your digital money, it's really gone from your account. They prevent that double spending fraud. But here is the massive flaw in that whole model. The entire system is built on one thing: trust. You have to trust that the middleman is going to be honest, that they're competent, that their systems are secure. This creates what we call a single point of failure. It can be hacked, it can be shut down, it can be controlled. And this is where Bitcoin completely changes the game. It was built from the ground up to get rid of that trusted middleman. It created a system where you don't have to trust any single person or company at all. So instead of one central authority calling all the shots, Bitcoin uses something called a consensus mechanism. This is the magic sauce that lets a huge, decentralized network of users all agree on what's true, verifying every transaction with pure mathematical certainty. So what the heck is a consensus mechanism? Well, you can kind of think of it like a digital democracy. Before any transaction can be seen as valid and locked into the record books forever, a majority, a huge majority of all the participants on the network have to agree that it's the correct version of the truth. No single person gets to decide. Okay, but wait a second. How in the world do you get thousands of anonymous computers scattered all over the globe to agree on anything, let alone get them to act honestly? Well, it all comes down to this really brilliant system of rules and, more importantly, incentives. The logic here is it's beautiful. The system is designed so that being honest is way, way more profitable than trying to cheat. If you play by the rules and honestly validate transactions, helping to secure the whole network, you get rewarded with brand new Bitcoin. But if you try to pull a fast one like a double spend, the network's rules just automatically reject your fake transaction. And this whole process, this competition to validate transactions and get that reward for doing honest work, that's what we call mining. Miners are basically the decentralized accountants for the entire network, and they get paid well for their honest bookkeeping. And the punishments for trying to cheat? They're severe. It's not just that your fraudulent transaction gets deleted. All of the incredible amount of computing power, all the electricity and processing time you spent trying to cheat is just gone, wasted. It makes cheating a terrible economic decision. You lose time, you lose money, and you get absolutely nothing for it. Now, this very specific type of consensus mechanism, the one that relies on miners spending real-world energy to prove they did honest work, that has a name. It's called proof of work, and it's the engine that makes this whole trustless system go. Okay, so we've solved a really complex computer science problem. That's cool for the tech nerds, but why does this actually matter in the real world? What's the big deal here? Look, solving the double spending problem without needing a bank or a credit card company was a monumental leap forward for technology. For the very first time in human history, we can prove we own something digital and send it directly to another person with 100% certainty. And we don't need to ask permission from any bank, any corporation, or any government to do it. And you have to understand, this technology is about so much more than just money. It's about the very idea of trust itself. So now that we can exchange value without needing a middleman, what else could be rebuilt? What other systems that rely on trust, things like voting, supply chains, even property records, could be completely redesigned from the ground up? That's the really big question this invention forces us to ask.